The Spanish-American War, mayhem in front of our eyes. April 1898, America starts to imperialize. They try turning it civilized, rather than being rotten. The South wanted to use Cuba for slavery and cotton. In 1840, investors got in Cuba's game. They invested from things like tobacco to sugar cane. Cuban unemployment spread, along with unrest. Jose Marti said, "Nah, enough with this mess. Cuba must be free from Spain and the United States." He formed a rebellion before Cuba suffocates. Spain killed Marti. They were fools. For now, Cuba wanted to rebel against Spanish rule. Grover Cleveland didn't want to fight. That's what he swore. But then McKinley got elected and he took his nation to war. All of a sudden, the U.S. Maine burst of flames. The United States had Spain, the enemy, to blame. McKinley went to war to expand his country's economic growth. His interest furthered when Spain blew up his very own boat. Accident or not, the Maine blew up at the shore. This gave reason for the U.S. and the Spain to go to war. Yellow journalism helped that cause of blaming Maine on Spain, but the true evidence is lost. Yellow journalism was the truth being stretched, so newspaper men could finally become filthy rich. Pulitzer and Hearst amplified people's feelings with sensationalism in the journal and the world's readings. Hearst exclaims, "You furnish the pictures, I'll furnish the war." It influenced the U.S. to go bang on Spain's front door.
Started from the U.S., now we in Cuba. Started from the U.S., now we took the Navy to you. Started from the U.S., now we in Cuba. Started from the U.S., now we took the Navy to you.
After the explosion of the USS Maine, McKinley asked Congress to declare war with Spain. The vote was passed in favor of war, so the U.S. traveled down to Cuba's core. They eliminated Spain's death camps and Spanish troops. Teddy Roosevelt and the Rough Riders formed an army group. They were cowboys, police, and even jocks. They all came together for this war to be fought. They were mostly Jingos and wanted to fight. At battles like Kettle Hill and San Juan Heights, they killed so many Spaniards with ease, and in the end, their ranks suffered meager casualties. Fighting, according to the Americans, was no chore. They enjoyed it so much, they called it the Splendid Little War. Although the U.S. broke Cuba away from Spain, Cuba wasn't completely free. America put restrictions on Cuba. They made this amendment, you see. Under the Platt Amendment, Cuba provided the U.S. with land for base. Cuba could not sign any treaty that would be negative to the states. And finally, it said the U.S. could intervene in Cuba to protect its interest. Now, what else happened after this?
Started from Cuba, now we here. Started from Cuba, now the Philippines is near. Started from Cuba, now we here. Started from Cuba, now the Philippines is near.
After the declaration of war with Spain, the Filipinos were next on the list for this U.S. train. They traveled to the Pacific to fight Spain in the Philippines. McKinley sent 5,000 of his troops overseas. Hold on, let's try to be more specific. These troops annihilated the Spanish fleet in the Asia Pacific. Once the U.S. freed them, they didn't want to leave. So the Philippines were now rebels and fought back, refusing to retreat. Rebels were led by Emilio Aguinaldo, who attacked. The Filipinos continued to fight back. The U.S. began killing every male over 10. All of them were considered a threat, any of those men.
4,300 American lives were lost, with 1/5 Filipinos also dying. The Philippines lost, but they continued trying. After all was settled, they wrote the Treaty of Paris in '98. This treaty brought a close to the war and all of its fates. It granted the U.S. the land of Cuba and the Philippines, as well as the islands Puerto Rico, Guam, and the West Indies. Let's not forget the Cuban-American Treaty, which gave the U.S. power over the Caribbean industry. Although this Spanish-American War only lasted a few months, these events led to effects that carried on.
We are out here.
Pratik Donovan.
Hey!
The reason why the Spanish-American War was really called the Splendid Little War, Teddy Roosevelt, it's because it was very short. It started in April 1898, and it lasted until August 1898. It was just a few months long. Very short. And now, Pratik, run free by yourself since he let you go.
on, high five me, high five me, high five me.
We were trying to show that when the United States finally let go, Cuba was really free. But at the end of that clip, you saw that Cuba, Pratik, had high-fived Donovan, the United States. This is kind of like a contradiction in what happened in real life, how Cuba seemed kind of undeserving or they didn't really appreciate what the US had done for them. But it does show the contradiction. It makes the contradiction seem prominent. You can see the contrasting detail. The United States had provided the push that Cuba needed to become a more successful area or an island, but it seemed that Cuba had betrayed the United States. That is why Pratik punches the USA. Or you could think about it as Cuba wanted to gain their own independence and they did not want the US with them. So Pratik basically gets me off of his island into the wood chips or the ocean or back mainland to America. In that clip, Donovan represented the United States and I represented Cuba. I needed that push. I couldn't get anywhere. I was still unable to get to my goals until Donovan, the United States, helped me out.
I add funny stuff in the movie.
This is funny.
Can't do it.
Look at your reaction.
Okay.
Started from Cuba, now we're here. Started from Cuba, now the whole team is here. Started from Cuba, now we're here. Started from Cuba, now the Philippines is near. Started from Cuba, now we're here. Started from Cuba, now the Philippines is near. Started from Cuba, now we're here. Started from Cuba, now the Philippines is near. I go hard with my flow team. I drop bombs on the earth. No team. I take the Rough Riders out to the car, slice the necks and break them out like a bar. Ooh.
That was so trash.
Yeah. You should probably cut that out. Don't put that in. I said I was gonna slice someone's neck. Don't put that in there.
But you're explaining yourself right now, so no good.
Oh wait, no, you paused. What the hell?
Don't worry, none of your takes are good.
I do your. Started from the Cuba, now E here. Now. Why am I saying duh? Like
he said the Cuba and E here. E here.
Now E here. Started from the Cuba, now E here. Started from the Cuba, now E here. Cuba, now E here. Why would you say that? Go. Yeah, go. Okay.